I have the privilege of serving as Vice President for Academic Affairs for Rosalind Franklin University and Dean of the Dr. William M. Scholl College of Podiatric Medicine. On behalf of the University College and our Alumni Association, welcome to the Class of 2021 White Coat Ceremony and Alumni Awards Celebration. Each year, the Scholl College Alumni Association generously provides the white coats for this ceremony, and we thank them for their gift again this year. At Scholl College, we believe in students first, alumni forever, and together we are Scholl proud. To the class of 2021, I remind you that the support of the Alumni Association and the presence of your family and friends here with us today demonstrate that many others are invested in your success. I encourage you to embrace and honor that support today and always. Now I have the double privilege of introducing our keynote speaker and honoring my fellow Scholl College alumnus, Dr. Patrick DeHeer, our faithful supporter and our role model in so many wonderful ways. Dr. DeHeer is a gifted practitioner, teacher, mentor, and humanitarian. He's a leader and advocate for our profession and enthusiastically promotes, first and foremost by his own example, podiatry's awesome power to heal and improve lives. It has been 27 years since Scholl College awarded Dr. DeHeer his podiatric medical degree, and I doubt he has wasted a single minute. He's earned our profession's highest credentials, built highly respected and successful medical and surgical practices in his home state of Indiana, conducted and published research, traveled the world to educate his fellow podiatric physicians and healthcare professionals, and invented devices to improve surgical and medical care for the foot and ankle. He's also served many years tending to the lower extremities of Indiana's 2 national basketball teams, and I'm just getting started. Dr. DeHeer has also dedicated 2 decades to strengthening our profession's state and national leadership at a time of critical change and flux in our healthcare system. Dr. DeHeer is also an excellent writer. If you're not reading his blog on podiatry today, you should. It's filled with wisdom and experience and offers deep insight into the mind and heart of a consummate medical professional. Nowhere does Dr. DeHeer's generous and teaching spirit shine as brightly as in his many volunteer efforts, including his relentless work with the underserved at home and in Haiti, where he's offering hope and saving lives by working in partnership with the country's healthcare system to establish sustainable podiatry programs. Dr. DeHeer, we are grateful for all you do, and we are proud to recognize you this very special day as one of our own. It is our pleasure to present the 2017 Scholl College Honor Medallion and Alumnus of the Year Award, along with our deepest gratitude and highest esteem to Dr. Patrick DeHeer. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Leland Jaffe, Assistant Professor in the Department of Podiatric Medicine and Radiology, an alumnus of the class of 2008, and our faculty representative on the Scholl College Alumni Association Board to assist me with the award presentation.
I'm watching my dad speak, so can you play that?
Dean Parsley, Scholl Faculty and Administration, Class of 2021, and proud families. It is with the utmost gratitude and humility that I stand before you as a recipient of the 2017 Scholl College Honor Medallion and Alumnus of the Year Award. It is a great professional privilege to join the company of those recognized before me. No matter the subject or the audience, When I present to students or colleagues, I close with the same image. A pair of cupped hands, painted with a map of the earth. The text on the slide reads, quote, "Do good wherever you are," end quote. Hashtag, give it up for good. Hashtag, pay it forward. Today, I want to talk to you about paying it forward. I'll start with a question for each member of the class of 2021 to ponder. It's an important question, but rest assured, it won't be on the test. Why did you choose the medical profession? It's likely there was more than one reason, but my wish for each of you is that on some level, you chose medicine because you are compelled by the drive to serve others. Side note, you can add it in at any time. It's never too late. My journey as a student has been influenced by teachers, professors, and physicians who have made indelible marks on who I've become as a professional, and for that matter, as a humanitarian. We don't forget the educators or colleagues who truly strive to reach us as students, who somehow find a way to afford us as individuals educational breakthroughs, or who present us with opportunities for growth. There's a common saying that we all come across in pop culture and in the media. I'd even go as far as saying it's become a cringe-worthy cliche. Quote, "He or she is a born leader," end quote. I don't believe that certain people are born leaders. I believe that we are all born students, and that one must master the art of learning before contemplating the world of leadership. I also passionately believe that the remaining a student for life is compulsory to a life of effective leadership. So you might wonder, what if any of this student, leadership, education stuff has to do with paying it forward? The answer is everything. Paying it forward doesn't begin the day that we accept so-called leadership positions. It begins with each of us at the beginning of our lives. It is the job of everyone in this room to be eager, to remain open, and to never, ever, at any point in our careers or our lives, decide that we know enough that we can sit back and stop learning. Seek knowledge and share knowledge. Dr. Daniel Bryther, a Scholl College legend, was my lower extremity anatomy professor. Dry, right? He taught us everything centers around anatomy in a way that made us want to learn every last thing there was to know about it. I left his class knowing my anatomy. Dr. Richard Lundeen was my primary attending during my residency and fellowship. I learned from him that the skill of a competent surgeon had to be rooted in the comprehensive understanding of the biomechanics of the lower extremity. To this day, my day in and day out work as a clinician, surgeon, and lecturer is wholly informed by what I learned from just these two mentors who found a way to reach me. They paid it forward. Dr. Ignacio Poncetti is perhaps the most renowned pediatric orthopedic surgeon of this era. At one point in my career, I found myself becoming increasingly frustrated with the surgical treatment of clubfoot, and I decided to find a way to learn the Poncetti method. I made several trips to the University of Iowa where Dr. Poncetti, who even at that time was well into his 90s, spent hours and hours teaching me his trademark treatment. He and his wife invited me to their home for dinner on one of my trips. There I found myself drinking beer and eating pizza with the world's most famous pediatric orthopedic surgeon and Mrs. Poncetti, who herself was one of the world's most revered scholars on Spanish literature. I will never forget that night. Dr. Ponsetti set into motion my love of foot and ankle pediatric orthopedics. During my time with him, I had the good fortune to see firsthand the impact that he was making in the lives of one child after another. And it was generally in the context of a once broken-hearted mother hugging the great doctor with tears of joy. His level of skill was awe-inspiring, but it wasn't the mastery of his craft that moved me the most. It was his professional generosity and his innate decency. His approach wasn't one centered around my being a podiatrist and his being an MD. Instead, we were two physicians working together with a mutual focus on reaching more patients, serving them at the highest level of skill possible. He paid it forward. After a few years of traveling to Haiti in an attempt to launch a Ponsetti clubfoot program, I was contacted by Dr. Kay Wilkins, also a pediatric orthopedic surgeon, who explained that he too sought to bring the Ponsetti method to Haiti. Dr. Wilkins had significantly more experience working in Haiti than I did, yet he invited me to join him on an upcoming trip. Over time, we made several trips together to Haiti, traveling throughout the country. Dr. Wilkins is in his 80s now, and he just retired from the University of Texas, San Antonio. As far as I know, the time and travel that he dedicated to international medical missions is unmatched. Dr. Wilkins taught me to love serving underdeveloped countries by showing me that we can make meaningful change in the lives that we touch. He paid it forward. In 2010, I traveled to Haiti 1 week following the earthquake that killed 200,000 people, injured 250,000 people, and left 2 of 9 million people in the country homeless. I had volunteered via Project MediShare in Miami University, Florida. Upon arriving, I met Dr. John McDonald, a retired cardiothoracic surgeon, who somehow found himself as a leader in wound care at that time. Dr. McDonald was managing the area that had been set up to treat patients with wounds, many of them grave. After a brief get-to-know-you, he handed the wound care management off to me so he could return home briefly. I was sobered by the challenge and stricken by the trust that he displayed in a situation that was the most catastrophic that I'd ever seen. And because of him, I became a better doctor that day. After the earthquake, Dr. McDonald went on to establish the first ever formal wound care center in Haiti, and later asked me to lead the diabetic foot program for Haiti. He taught me the importance of working with local physicians as peers and establishing sustainable programs that empower physicians in developing countries, teaching them what we know versus doing it for them and then disappearing back into our lives at home. He paid it forward. By definition, paying it forward means making a contribution with no guarantee of a return on your investment. That's the bad news. But there's good news. With the knowledge that you've earned over the past 4 years, and that you'll add over the next 4 years of podiatry school and 3 years of residency, you'll greet the podiatric profession with a powerful skill set. You are the future of podiatry. And as a mentor, I'm going to make a promise to every one of you today. For every hour, afternoon, day, week, or month that you, as a medical professional, sacrifice for a needy patient, a struggling student, a troubled colleague, or a foreign country, you will ultimately be more enriched than any surgery will ever pay. And you will reap more meaningful rewards than the most prestigious of accolades will ever afford you. As undergraduates, podiatry students, residents, fellows, and experienced practitioners, Our strengths vary widely, as do the unique contributions that each of us have the potential to make in our institutions, communities, and beyond. Thus, when it comes to identifying opportunities to pay it forward, we're met with unlimited options. Sometimes they'll appear in the form of direct patient care, the halls of the hospital, or the walls of an office. When it's your instinct to be competitive and hoard a new skill, choose intellectual generosity instead. When you find yourself hungry for recognition, shine the spotlight on a colleague instead. You'll be repaid in spades with the trust, respect, and friendship of your peers, the value of which I couldn't overstate. There will be times when the gratification will be immediate. There will be times when you throw your time or effort into a cause without ever knowing whether you made a difference at all. But if you commit today to paying it forward, a core part of you as a physician, you will change real human lives. You will make the world better, and you will leave a footprint that will far outlive you. It would be utterly impossible to identify one moment as being the most satisfying that I've experienced since sitting in your shoes. So I'll share a story of my very first international medical mission. It was 2002, and I was invited by a former resident named Dr. Jesse Burks to join a group from Little Rock, Arkansas on a trip to Trujillo, Honduras, located in the northeast coast of the country. Jesse and I had a full week of both simple and complex surgical cases and long hours in the hospital. A Honduran woman arrived at the clinic with her 7 or 8-year-old daughter. I don't speak a word of Spanish, but no language barrier could have hidden the desperation in the heart of that young mother. Eventually, through my interpreter, I had the story. In most developing countries, all of the schools are private. The students must wear uniforms to attend, and the rules are rigid. I learned that the little Honduran girl wasn't allowed to attend school. Because of a foot abnormality, she was unable to wear the shoes required as part of the school uniform. The pressure was on. I slipped off her shoes and was elated to discover that the only thing that stood between the sweet girl and an education was an extra 5th toe on her right foot. The realization that the young child had been denied an education based on something so easily remedied took my breath away. We scheduled her for surgery the following day. It took 10 minutes. 3 days later, the mother and daughter returned for a post-op visit. I removed the dressing, and her perfect little foot is, to this day, one of the greatest sights I've ever seen. The girl's mother wept and hugged me over and over. Though I was totally unable to understand her words, I was pretty sure she was thanking me. Her daughter started school 1 week later. International medicine is glamorous and exciting, but you generally won't have to look too far to find citizens with your own communities without access to health care. I volunteer every month at a medical clinic called the Trinity Free Clinic. Last month, I arrived at the clinic as usual and was greeted by the director, who made a point to thank me for 17 years of volunteering. It wasn't as dramatic of a moment as a little girl going to school in Honduras, but it was enough. Most of the days of your career will stand as an opportunity to serve your own patients. I've been at it for a while, which means that the number of people who have walked through my door is in the thousands. And they represent every walk of life imaginable. Some are delightful, some are frustrating, and from time to time, there are some who seem ungrateful. But they all picked me, and none of them had to. And they all have a story. Thus, my job is to treat every one of them as though they are family. After my residency, I attended a state meeting, and I complained the whole way through about the quality of the meeting. At some point, I realized my complaining was helping no one, and I was due for an attitude adjustment. The next thing I knew, I was on the Continuing Education Committee for our state. The following year, I was asked to chair the committee. I begrudgingly agreed, but made sure that it was understood that I would never, ever get involved in the politics of podiatry. After several years of volunteering at the state and national level, I am now on track to be the 100th president of the American Podiatric Medical Association. Thank you. As individual podiatrists, we're each doing one of two things. We're moving the profession forward, or we're moving it backward. Podiatry as a medical field isn't perfect. It's a work in progress, and each generation of podiatrists is charged with the responsibility of leaving podiatry a better field than when that generation entered it. I hope that you will accept your white coats with the understanding that with membership comes responsibility. I hope that you decide to give back to the profession that will give so much to you. I hope that you, quote, do good wherever you are. Class of 2021. And I'm counting on you to, quote, pay it forward, end quote. Thank you.
Thank you for your inspiring address, Patrick. It honors Scholl College and Rosalind Franklin University to acknowledge your tremendous contributions. We will now officially welcome the class of 2021 by inviting you to the stage to receive your white coats. I would like to invite Dr. Mark Grummett, Assistant Professor in the Department of Basic Biomedical Sciences, to introduce each member of the class. The white coats will be bestowed by Drs. DeHeer and Jaffe.